Hello, welcome to our show. We are Business Love with Ryan. I am Ryan. Here we focus on what it takes to make your ideas happen and the steps you can follow to make it just a little bit easier. Subscribe to our podcast to join the ongoing conversation about all things startup business related. Find even more content on our YouTube channel, Ryan's Business Class. See the link in our description of this episode. So glad to have you here. Maybe we can learn something together. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. This is Business Love with Ryan. This is our 6th episode coming to you live from Kiev, Ukraine. We are in the Corona environment yet again, and today we are coming to you asking you, what does it take to make a fitness business when you have to stay at home or not? Let's suppose that you're not staying at home and you work in a gym and you'd like to build your career into the next thing. What does that involve? What does that take? Well, the first section we want to focus on is Tech Tuesday. We will be talking about fitness devices. And there's all sorts of ways, if you're a fitness trainer and you want to become, at the top of this industry, getting involved with fitness devices, planning them, designing them, conceiving of them in new ways or new interpretations of data is a great way to establish yourself and build a company in an industry which you already love. So let's pause now, and we are going to go into our Tech Tuesday section. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is our Tech Tuesday section. Today we're focusing on fitness devices and how you can perhaps make your mark as a business founder or a just interested user, I suppose. We don't always got to talk about strategy, but there is such a thing emerging as has been coined the trillion sensors economy. In other words, they're going to be putting sensors on every possible thing and trying to find new ways to use that data to benefit our lives. Already, many of us wear Fitbits on our wrist or fitness trackers that are part of the Apple Watch or fitness trackers of other brands. For the most part, they track your steps, your heart rate, information that we normally can expect at this point in time in 2020 is actually small compared to what it will be in 2030. Maybe in 2030, there will be such sensors that can, tap into your electrical signals and learn all sorts of things about the way your body is working based on how your nervous system responds to it. This is something you could wear on your wrist or on your finger, probably more likely because you're closer to your nervous system in your finger. And you could learn all deeper things. When you're judging this industry and when you're trying to figure out how to position yourself or when you're trying to determine what you can do to participate, it helps to think about the different types of economy that are working together at the same time. An economy is a business model inherently, but there's also an explanation of how or why people buy things. So the first example is what I actually think will eventually happen with a lot of devices. They will give them to you for free. Either they will come from the company, or they will come from the government perhaps, or they will come from, well, that would really be the limit. Probably let's focus on company for now. This is the free/data economy. Already Google does this with its services. You use any number of extremely valuable Google services, and they pretty much track your behavior. They don't track your behavior with the intention of incriminating you or singling you out, even though from what I understand this happens on very rare occasions in terms of extreme heinous crime taking place. They can identify it with the same systems. However, Google follows your searches. It follows how you click through different websites. It follows where you go, and it combines them into sort of a profile of who you are as a consumer. And then it sells that data to companies who want to market better to you, who want to develop products better for you. So in a way, it's all to the good. The risk, of course, is that when Google singles you out, especially to law enforcement for some reason, maybe, in the future there will be mandates about health or mandates about not going to certain websites, which of course there already are. But the worry is all of these tech companies that have such power over your information might actually use it to target you at some point. Facebook could be looking at your messages for that matter. They could know everything about who you are. But as of now, there is an interest for them to keep that private because their credibility, their brand, is built upon the trust that they have with the customer. And the customer generally understands, for instance, what Google is doing with their data, and they still allow it to take place. So there's a symbiosis there. And if you really want to, understand using the data economy, how you can fit into it, let's assume that you figure out a new device that can measure certain impurities in the blood. And so you can know all these different people and how much of this specific impurity they have. Well, another company who, say, sells detox products would like to know about this service. So if you can figure out how to measure the impurities in somebody's blood, you can give them devices for free, and then you could sell information about that impurity to a company who will market the solution to these same people. Probably, at the way that I said it, nobody would quite have a problem with it. But when you start singling out specific individuals, even by name, and saying, yes, this guy over here, John Smith, has this dirty blood, well, John Smith is definitely not going to like that. And if word gets out that you're identifying him specifically by name, this is going to be something that's going to perhaps destroy your brand. Once that hits the newsreels, nobody's going to buy your product anymore because Jane Smith over here or Jim Brown over here doesn't want the same treatment, even if it's harmless. You ask yourself, what if everybody knows everything about me? My heart rate is this, my body temperature is this, my blood impurity is this. What if you know everything about me? There's very few medical conditions that I think are actually embarrassing. Perhaps, I suppose if you know someone has coronavirus, I think if you have coronavirus, it's everyone's duty to know that you have it anyways. That's not the sort of thing you should be keeping secret unless you're also staying at home, in which case you won't have it very long, hopefully. One way or another. All right. So that's just, there's one final economy that I wanted to mention for our Tech Tuesday about how fitness devices can be framed in order to sell them, and that would be the transformation economy. People will buy hardship if they believe on the other side of it they're going to be a better person. They're going to transform into somebody better. So you don't need to offer them pleasant times all the time. Offer them a system that allows them to transform. And a fitness tracker and also a fitness program kind of works both on this. This is what makes fitness such an attractive industry for as long as we can remember, is because people want to transform themselves. Well, there's other transformational business models that are coming soon. Online education courses is another one. And spirituality is a classic example of the transformation economy model. You go to church, maybe you even donate money. They don't actually ask you for a price unless it's like one of these mega churches where you got to buy a ticket, which seems decidedly ungodly to me. But you go there because you want to transform your spirituality. And it's the same with fitness. Fitness is a certain type of church in a way, if you think about it. You worship certain values when you're there. When you're exercising your values as well, your spiritual values. The purpose of this section is just to encourage you to recognize that there is going to be an increase, exponential increase in the way sensors are used on our bodies. And figure it out for yourself, what you would like to know for yourself, what could be useful to use for other people, and you will have a business model that will carry you into the future. Okay, so in our next section, we are going to be doing strategy now, and we're going to talk about a few large players in the fitness industry that currently exist and have existed for the last 20 or 30 years. Be right back. Hey, welcome back. This is our Strategy Now session, and today we're talking about larger fitness companies. I really want to focus on this international chain called Curves. Curves is a fitness location and program that's designed for women. A lot of women like to be a little bit more private about their fitness practices, and this Gary Heaven, I'm not sure how to pronounce it for sure, Him and his wife started Curves down in Texas in the early 90s, and it became a success almost immediately, so that in a few years it was already almost a nationwide chain, and it was ready for IPO. Through many ups and downs, Curves has become a worldwide leader and probably one of the most well-known fitness programs in the world. Gary has managed it very well, and now he's also the chairman of the Jenny Craig fitness brand as well. Jenny Craig is more about weight loss, whereas Curves is more focused on fitness. But both of them focus on nutrition, especially, and both of them have locations where they administer certain types of exercises. Gary Heaven is probably the leading entrepreneur in this field right now. I mean, you would consider him almost like the Bill Gates of the fitness industry, almost. He is a billionaire. And he sort of stepped away from this business at this point. He's retired, and he spends more of his time flying, and he is trying to get into making movies about spiritual issues. He's very involved with his church. And there's a few lessons to take away from the way that he did things and the way that Jenny Craig did things. Jenny Craig is an actual person, but she also started the Jenny Craig brand. And one thing that they have in common is that they both set up a fitness brand. They branded it. They included nutrition, like I said earlier. And then they set up locations. And then it was a business model. So it was a branded model that they had created that they could franchise in other locations with more or less other people's money. Franchising is an interesting way of doing business. Somebody else sets up a location concept. So there's a brand name, there's an appearance, there's a set program or product, and you can more or less purchase the rights to administer this business to a local community. So you can call up Curves and say, I would like to make a Curves location of my own. Well, they will have a franchising package. Maybe it costs $50,000 or $75,000. And they will have other criteria about how you can or cannot do business. Perhaps they will help you find a location that is best, and other support aspects that will help you succeed. But then also you can lean on the brand name. In this case, it would be Curves. Or you just put your money down and get started. It's already there waiting for you, and people already know about it. So you would have to still do some marketing in your local community to sort of prime the market for your entry. But once you're there, you'll probably have a pretty consistent welcome and a consistent flow of new customers just from people who are just learning that you're there and already know the brand. So franchising is a great way to get in on a winning operation already. But if you are the founder of that winning operation, franchising out is the fastest way to possibly grow, because although other people own the locations, they still send you a tribute or they buy your resources. Like, for instance, McDonald's is a franchise type business. When you see a local McDonald's in your local community, you think, okay, that McDonald's is owned by the McDonald's company. Well, the truth is it's probably not. They've licensed the rights to use the McDonald's name and to sell McDonald's menu, and they buy all of their products from a centralized McDonald's location. So those chicken McNuggets are probably all prepared in one place and distributed, at least within the one country, and distributed to all the different locations in the country. And those are purchased by the franchise owner to sell in the franchise store. So McDonald's still makes money off its products, but it doesn't have to take so much responsibility for other aspects, like the risk of operating day to day. However, with fitness, it's not such a common thing to see fitness franchises, but Jenny Craig and Curves are both examples of it. And if you want to make your own program, your ultimate goal should be to have business owners franchise your program in other locations. So just something to think over. This is what touching the sky in the industry looks like. The prime time of the fitness industry is branding and then franchising. So thank you for checking out our Strategy Now section. We'll be back in a second with our business supermodels for young entrepreneurs who want to get started with their fitness business. So we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's get into our business supermodel section. For all you young, newer entrepreneurs who wish to expand the skill set that you've already developed into your own business or into an operation that you can run during this quarantine time, starting a fitness business is a great idea because people still need to be fit. People's life still goes on. People's bodies are still atrophying and they still want to continue to build towards the future. So you can set up something with a video package. You can set up something with webcam services. In other words, you lead a fitness regimen on webcam or something like that. And you can publish all of the material that you think is most important. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I think that the nutrition program is just about the most valuable thing you can offer as a component of your plan because it's something that people genuinely don't know enough about, and they know that they don't know enough about it. And then it's not so intuitive like going to the gym, looking at the machine, and sort of generally understanding what it's for and sort of teaching yourself. The nutrition aspect is something that's much better to have somebody else teach to you. Just because it's difficult to know where to look first. I suppose if you know in your head as a customer, yes, I need to learn about fitness, you can learn everything you need to know on Google about the way to eat. However, it's still a lot to learn, and it's still a lot to put in its proper place in terms of schedule and portion size and specifically what fills each nutrition requirement. Like what gives me the best protein? Should I diversify my protein? How much carbohydrates should I get? Are there more than one type of carbohydrates? Well, yes, there are. There's fast and slow. And then, should I be using other supplements like creatine, or should I be taking a vitamin? Which ones are best? How much? How often? This is something that you can incorporate into a plan alongside the fitness activities, alongside the general lifestyle philosophy, the lifestyle schedule of how much sleep do you get, what time do you wake up, when should you eat, how much should you eat, what activities happen on some days, how often should you do each exercise. These are the basic truths of fitness. But then if you're going to develop a program, what's most important is that you have your brand name. So let's go through some of the steps to developing your own program as a fitness leader. So the first step, of course, is education. You need to educate yourself about the nature of your industry and the nature of your business that you're going to be offering. It's not enough to know a lot about fitness or even enough to know about how to eat or any aspect of the course that you're about to share. It's about understanding the business side of it. So who are your customers? What are they going to be interested in knowing? What are they already doing for fitness? What situation are they in? And for instance, they're in quarantine now. What is popular with them already? And then beyond that, you need to ask who your competition is. Who is already offering programs? What programs exist online or in your area? Well, we know online there's Curves and Jenny Craig already because we just talked about that in our Strategy Now section. But then, there's Ty Bo. There's celebrity fitness trainers who all have video series. There's bodybuilding.com has an excellent fitness series on YouTube that you can just watch without needing a trainer. So why will people come to you? It's because they need to be prodded and pushed. They need to be held accountable. Accountability is one of the leading draws of actually using a live trainer for your fitness. The trainer won't let you stop short of what you plan to do for that day. And the trainer will keep you motivated and keep you focused and help you learn. So you learn about your customer, you learn about your competition, and then, you develop your fitness expertise, of course. And then beyond that, you need fitness locations near you. You need to know who the players are in your local industry because you're going to want to contact them and you're going to want to build a relationship with them. So beyond this education, learning who and what everything is, you want to focus on establishing your identity. The first thing, and it's a little bit different than what I usually say, the first thing you want to establish as part of your identity as making a fitness business that runs partially online or in the public is your brand name. Your brand name is the most important thing because it defines your program. Without a brand, you are just your identity as a fitness trainer with a lot of ideals and values in your head. You have a lot of ideals about how to eat, and you know a lot of values about how to eat. You know when you should work out and the intervals and the different aspects of the activities that you have to do to become fit. And you know just generally about the lifestyle and all of the options and other programs that exist. But until you have a brand name, these are just features that you as a person know and think about. But when you put it into a brand, you no longer need to say, I know all about nutrition. All you need to say is, I have a program, here it is. A brand allows you to pick it up as a package, and you can just say the brand, and it implies all of the components. It implies the completeness of the fitness experience because it's a program. It's a branded program. So it's ready to be sold as a product. It's ready to be sold as a single concept. It's a title that implies everything underneath it. And a little bit of investigation will tell them more of everything they need to know. But for now, let's call it animal fitness. You're a big, strong guy, and you want to make a strength-oriented program, so you call it animal strength. So you know exactly what is in the program ahead of time. You can even kind of guess how the workouts are going to be and what the focus of the workouts are going to be. It's not going to be to make you a better runner. It's not going to be to shrink your waistline. It's going to be to make you as strong as possible. And so you know that by the name. Maybe you call it Fat Burner 3000, and this is how people know what the program is going to be. And this is all part of creating your identity and developing your product too. So once you've established your brand and your social media and your website, you wanted to start developing what the actual program is going to be. So you already know from the brand name that you chose that you want it to be animal strength. So you're going to prepare all of your nutrition around people who are going to work out hard and they're trying to get stronger, so they're going to need to eat a certain way, which is a lot of protein, probably a little bit more fat than normal, probably a little bit more carbohydrates than, for instance, somebody who's trying to be very lean with a six-pack. Guys who are very, very strong are oftentimes a little bit fat because of the way that they have to eat and because of the environment they have to put their body in to grow muscles in a strong way. There's no shortage of pretty fat guys in the world's strongest man competitions, but they're also the most strong guys that there are. Okay, so beyond creating your program, which is nutrition, activities, the schedule of the activities, and the overall lifestyle philosophy and schedule, how much sleep you get is just as important as how much protein you eat. You want to maybe try to create video materials, especially eventually a workshop or a full course that you can sell. But maybe in the beginning you create video materials for YouTube, much like we've done for this on our own page for our own purposes. We've created regular video material, and maybe announcing now, we also have plans to create a professional workshop about how to make business. And this is something we're going to sell. This is going to be our paid product that we've been working up to. And I don't want to talk about that too much now. It's just equally relevant to what we're talking about in this. So you create your video materials with the purpose of promoting or selling, probably a little bit of both eventually. And then you want to create your branding materials. So you want to determine what your colors are going to be, what your logo is going to look like, what your messaging is going to be, and all of the ways that the brand makes you feel. What images are you going to use? Maybe a guy fighting a tiger in the jungle, and this will show how strong he is and how he's an animal too. Or, maybe there's a jungle motif or a bull or something on the cover that implies a very strong animal. Well, these are branding choices, and they have to be chosen because from this point forward, you're going to use it. So if you use the bull, stick with the bull. It shouldn't be a grizzly bear next week, Create branding material, and then you make contacts with locations that might actually physically host your branded class as a class. So what you're going to be asking from them is for a time slot that is yours. Can I have this room on this day? And then customers who come will pay something to the gym, and then you'll get some split. So you're going to split the profit with the gym that you're hosted at. And, if you're traveling all the time, you can get hosted at many gyms. If you wish to live an international lifestyle, call Paris a month ahead of time or 3 months ahead of time and say, I'm going to be in Paris for 3 weeks. I would like to hold a hosted class in your gym. The gym should like doing it because it's something hype that they can offer to their clients. And then also they're gonna split some of the money with you. So I don't see why a gym, unless they're stupid, would say rudely, no, hang up. That's what you fear, obviously, when you're pitching this. But there's something in it for them. So if they disregard you, maybe they're not a decision maker, or maybe they're just not that smart. Either way, don't take it personal. So then you want to prepare your promotional materials. This is your business card, your flyer for the program, your posters. If a gym is going to host you, you want to be at that gym. You want to be meeting clients. You maybe stand outside, hand out, welcome, we're having a program next week. You want to make sure your posters are in the bathrooms of the gym or the series of gyms that you're going to be performing at. Maybe you can just do it over the phone. Can you remember to hang up my poster in the bathroom or around the gym so that I don't have to come in and do it because I'm not in that city yet? Let's say you're traveling. But you want to make sure it gets done. You want to make sure it gets communicated that your posters get hung up. So you're going to maybe need to mail some out. So you have to manage that process as well. But let's not get wrapped up in that. It's sort of obvious when you talk about preparing promotional materials what it's going to take to distribute them. But let's just say that it's important to remember that after you've made contact with locations and developed your program, you're going to establish a portfolio of materials to get the word out. And then beyond that, and you might want to go back to our section in our video archive on incentive marketing, it's wise to create and establish an incentive marketing program. You can build a fleet or what's the word for a group of people that do a purpose? You can build a team of people who go out and market for you based on, splitting the profits with them. If you bring, they make sure every woman at the offices has a copy of your flyer and maybe a personal speech a little bit. They talk to them a little bit about what's being offered. Hey, come to 24-hour gym over here. We're holding a program on Thursday nights. It's Fat Burner 3000. Please come. And, you hand out a flyer, and maybe there's a coupon for a discount, and then on the back there's a number so you know who handed out that coupon to who, and they get money back for it when the whole thing works out. An excellent way to get the word out, an excellent way to make friends because you're distributing money, and it'll fill up your classes faster. I don't know if you have time to do it if you're traveling all the time, but it's just one more option. So beyond that, you want to launch your marketing campaign, which will be mostly like we've already said, attaching to a gym and then marketing out of that gym as best you can. Depends on the terms you organize with the gym. So you want the gym to accept people into your class who aren't necessarily members of that gym on a limited one time only or for the period of time that you're in this class, and maybe they can take a free individual workout around the gym also. These are things you're going to want to negotiate. The terms of your employee in this gym is something you can negotiate. It's not just on their terms. They don't probably even have specific terms that they offer to people like you. It's not that common. A lot more people are trying to do it on video, and for right now, it's the only option to do that. But your videos give you a calling card to gyms later, so it gives you more credibility. You're already with established video program. You already have a branded name for your program. You're already the face of it on posters and promotional materials. And maybe you have T-shirts with the name of it or hats with the name of it or shaker bottles that you can give to everyone with the name of the program on it. Different little extras that show that this is a proper program. This is a well thought out idea. And it's something that you as a customer want to be part of. So beyond that, it just comes down to deliver it. When you show up to give your classes, you got to have that energy because it's not just you working for a gym anymore. It's you representing your brand. You're much more exposed as an individual. You're much more vulnerable in terms of reputation and identity now because you're administering a class with your face and name all over it. So come with that energy. Maybe hit a coffee before you. Maybe take your own advice about getting enough sleep. Just remember before you go into the class that this is your dream. This is your chance. This is every class that you administer under your own brand name is a definite step in the right direction of your career. And, even though you did it, even though you already perspired to organize the whole thing, there's a lot of people who just somehow can't. And they're very envious of the position that you were able to create for yourself just because you did these steps. But once they're done, it's an enviable position. And so all you got to do is do it, and you're in it. But it's not that simple. People hesitate for all sorts of reasons, but there's no reason to. So deliver your product with a lot of enthusiasm. The enthusiastic man who doesn't have as much talent as an unenthusiastic man is still going to perform better. Enthusiasm gets you that extra 10%. It's a lot more fun. And then beyond that, you follow up with your customers. Maybe all of the people who are in your classes end up on your Facebook. Maybe remember to say happy birthday to them. Remember, their names. Remember anything they shared with you, so you can ask them about it later. Hey, how's your daughter? Is she feeling better? Oh, that's great. I'm so happy. These are just basic networking skills, but at the same time, when you're a captain of your own flag, when you're delivering your own product, it becomes so much more important because these customers are the result of so much more work before you actually had the customer. So these are just some ideas. I think just the most important aspect of this section that I can emphasize is the importance of branding. It all starts on paper. So, if you want to get started with this idea, sit down with a pad of paper, away from your phone, away from your computer, turn off the blue light, and just get down to writing with a pencil. Outline it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like I said here. What do I need? Where am I going? What am I doing? Who do I need to help me? What gyms would I like to work in? What do I want? All of these things that I already said. Just plan it all out on paper, and then just keep on putting one foot in front of the other, focusing on improved quality, and you will be successful in this because it's dying to happen. It's a very popular industry. So good luck to you. Thank you. All right, well, let's get into the final section of our podcast for today, that is profiles and success. And you cannot talk about the fitness industry and people who have built business leadership roles in fitness without talking about, two guys. But first, Arnold Schwarzenegger. How can you not mention him? The man is very impressive. He has very publicized successes and failures, and people have different opinions about him. But I can't say enough about his ability to generate business and to be serious about his life and not just fall on his laurels, but to take his opportunities seriously. Arnold Schwarzenegger is, of course, a great bodybuilder. He has been a leading bodybuilder since he was a teenager. He came to the United States already as a worldwide leading bodybuilder. He won Mr. Olympia 7 times. He won it 6 times and then left for a couple of years and came back and won it again. And he was a star from it. Almost immediately from his bodybuilding career, he ended up going into movies. And that doesn't necessarily prove he's a great businessman. So that's not really why I wanted to talk about him. Arnold Schwarzenegger took whatever money he got from his business, from the sporting opportunities that he had. He took them and he invested in all kinds of small businesses. What most people don't know is that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Frank Columbo, who was also a Mr. Olympia eventually, went into business together in California making a bricklaying company. Both of these guys are worldwide leading bodybuilders, and they started their own brick company to try to just make more money, just to try to turn some of the money they had into something more. And what they did is they called themselves European bricklayers or something like this, and they charged more on purpose. And everyone just assumed that they were dealing with better quality because they implied that they were from another place. These values that you don't know about. We know about it. We'll show you. You can pay us. And that's what people did. People take that logic seriously. You charge a little bit more on purpose just to look like you're more. It's like a fake it till you make it. But that's what they did, and they were successful. They got into other things. They got into buying land on the idea that an airport was coming to this area, and then it didn't come. But it was such an interesting experience, and it had so much promise anyways that they just continued to do it. Now, one thing I wanted to mention when I was researching Arnold is that there's a difference between an entrepreneur and an investor. A lot of times really good investors are also called great entrepreneurs, but I don't see that as being the case, because the entrepreneur created the investment opportunity and you just saw it and you bought into it. And being a great investor is a deeply respectable thing to be. It's just as respectable as being an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur is the one who starts with nothing. An entrepreneur is the one who's in their shower going, oh, wait, that is a great idea. When I get out of the shower, I'm going to write it down and we're going to get started. That's entrepreneuring. Not, wow, these guys over here have been in business for 10 years and it's starting to go somewhere, so let me put my money into it. Arnold Schwarzenegger is both. In the articles I read about his business acumen, I noticed that a lot of people got them confused, though. You know, he's an investor in a movie company, or he's an investor in a financial firm, and that somehow proves that he's a great entrepreneur. Well, no, it doesn't. It only proves that he saw a good opportunity and he recognized it and had the inner fortitude to take the risk, which is, like I said, awesome. But to be an entrepreneur is the bricklaying company. Being an entrepreneur is his mail order company, where he started making books and posters of himself and mailing them out himself. He started publishing a publication called Arnold Strong, and this is when he was still a teenager. And he actually had a quote that said, you know, most of these bodybuilders are doing this mail order type of business, but they forget to mail out the products. But he didn't. He was very serious. He had a series of baskets that the work could go through, so he always knew where he was. He was just extremely organized in this way. Maybe it's German values, maybe it's just who he is. You know, I think he's a little bit more successful than anyone from, you know, than most people from any culture. So, you know, you can't really apply it to anything but him. But he was a success, and he expanded very quickly. And now, and today, for instance, he owns a 747 jet. It's probably his for when he needs it, but he leases it to Singapore Airlines, and so he has a commercial interest in it. And so I don't know if he can use it whenever he wants. Maybe he decided he didn't need it as much as he thought he did, but he's making money from it too. So it might have been an investment opportunity all along, but he does own a plane. And you could say that's investment, is that entrepreneuring? Now, if he was to make it a system where he's constantly buying planes and leasing them to airlines around the world, well, that would be entrepreneuring. But owning a plane and leasing one plane, it's kind of like investment. And now, let's talk about another example. Let's say you buy houses and you fix them up and you flip them. That's an example of kind of both. You're an entrepreneur because you're creating this business. You're developing your own product in the form of a decrepit house, improved and ready to live in. So there's a service there. But you also take control of the asset as well, usually. And so it's also a product. And you're an entrepreneur because you did activity to improve and then sell, so you're involved in that. But you're also an investor because you put your money into an asset. So in a way, if you're selling products, you're always an investor. If you're creating the product from nothing and then trying to sell it, technically you're an investor too, but that's much more of an entrepreneur. Arnold Schwarzenegger is both. He's revolutionized the industry of fitness publication and literature, and he's definitely the most photographed or postered, I guess you would say, bodybuilder that there has ever been. Maybe a few guys later have been impressive as well, but Arnold is still the gold standard. And I cannot talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger as a businessman without also mentioning Joe Weider. Joe Weider is really considered the father of modern bodybuilding. I mean, he has his own branded nutrition, Joe Weider, proteins and creatines and all full supplements, and they're much more expensive than any other brand I know of. And he also has publications. He has competitions named after him. I mean, the man was royalty in the bodybuilding field until he died a couple of years ago. And he was the one who mentored Arnold Schwarzenegger into his business successes. And he has a quote that I wanted to read if I can find it real quick. Here it is. Well, just to give a few examples of Joe Weider's leadership in Arnold's life, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to publish advertisements in magazines about his books and his materials that he was trying to sell. And Joe Weider would make suggestions like, why don't you write, little details like fill within days to separate yourself from an industry that generally forgets to fill its orders at all. And then he would say other things like call your booklet limited edition because people love limited edition. So I think a lot of people, and especially Arnold, would say that Joe Weider was one of the influential figures in turning Arnold into what he was. You can't go on the internet and look up Joe Weider or look up Arnold without finding pictures of them together. So Arnold Schwarzenegger has definitely become like a mega star in the world. The tip top of the A-list actors, bodybuilding legend. He's been able to parlay that success into business success and political success. I mean, the man has almost achieved everything he's ever wanted to achieve. But he's received mentoring, and he's had things to learn as well. And, his personal failings have been documented as well, but I don't even want to mention them because we are dealing with a great, great man who deserves respect. From bricklaying to fitness heaven, mega stardom to movie stardom, the secret to Arnold Schwarzenegger was making a plan and following it through, and the ability to identify opportunities where they exist, and just the discipline. And I think it's one of the biggest parts about starting a business is learning how to deal with your own fear. And people that can do this deserve to be looked at by the public as examples. So big shout out to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Big shout out to Joe Weider, great man. I'm very pleased to have come to you this week with this material. We're going to be publishing a few articles on LinkedIn. We're going to be publishing a manifesto on the purpose of our community here, which is business education, specifically with an eye on education reform, because, like we've already said in this channel several times, we want to get business education in schools. We want to workshop students so that they're going through the steps that we talk about this as part of their normal education system. We want to empower young people. We want to empower the dreamers that might be watching our show. So I hope this, talking about one industry, but the lessons are relevant to many industries, I hope it can be a little bit useful to you. Come back next week. We'll have something more. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.